Now last week we got a promo that covered the remaining episodes to the mid-season finale, and a few of the things we covered in that preview breakdown did happen in this episode. However, most of the shots have yet to be seen. Lucky for us, there's still a bunch of really fun new things in episode 8 preview that we can go through that will pertain to the next few episodes. Though before we get into all that, I would implore all of you guys who have been following the channel, liking the videos so far, who haven't got around to subscribing yet, to join the community and get notifications for when I post out new content. That'd be awesome. Okay, let's get into it.
Bjorn is very special. When I finally get him is when I am truly king of all Norway.
Over the last few episodes, we've seen Harald kind of transform into this extremely confident and arrogant character. Now that he's finally managed to achieve his goal of being king of all Norway, he desperately wants to cling on to it. And he somewhat rightfully identifies that Bjorn is his biggest threat to power because he could definitely pull up the most support and undermine his kingdom and rule. From the way they've framed Harald in shots and the way he talks and the way they're even showing him in this preview here, it's very much he's been set up as this bad guy to Bjorn. He's no longer buddy-buddy, friendly Harald trying to do his best to achieve his dreams. He's now definitely a tyrant. Like he's already making false promises, assassinating his political rivals in the dead of night, all of which are textbook tyrant moves. Vikings is clearly pushing this theme of darkness descending upon the world. And I'm sure this bit of rivalry that's forming between Harald and Bjorn is going to be a core part of it. It's very clear that the Viking world will have to unite as one against the Rus threat if they have any chance of succeeding. But the rift between Harald and Bjorn is quite large. Not only is Harald clearly targeting Bjorn, but Bjorn feels betrayed because he spent so much effort saving Harald in the first place just for this to all happen. But Bjorn has more than just Harald to focus on. He's a whole host of issues and problems thrown his way all at once.
We will burn Hvitserk tomorrow.
Until the mid-season finale.
Light the fire!
So it seems that Bjorn has definitively found out that Hvitserk was the person who killed Lagertha. As I've said, Bjorn's taken hit after hit these last few episodes. He lost his throne and his kingdom and was betrayed by someone he thought was a friend. And now when he returns home from that defeat, he finds his son is dead, his mother is dead, and his wife is wounded. And on top of all of that, he swore in front of the gods at his mother's funeral that he would avenge her death and punish her killer. So even if Hvitserk was a son of Ragnar at his prime and beloved by the people and fighting well with tons of supporters, Bjorn would probably still go after him. Not to mention someone with no friends and allies who is looked down upon and seen as a complete failure. It's a strange position for Bjorn to be in because he expected the other sons of Ragnar, Uber and Hvitserk, to forgive his mother Lagertha for killing their mother and let go of that vengeance. And he claimed that they were all sons of Ragnar and they should support each other and not fight each other at the time. However, we can see how easily he can disregard that logic when it's his own mother. Now one thing we covered in the previous breakdown was this clip here we saw of Hvitserk fighting, cleaned up on the beaches against the Rus forces, or with them. So I definitely thought it was a possibility that Vikings was trying to mislead us like they have in the past. I thought it was a possibility that he could be projecting his own guilt onto the scene rather than it being a real event. However, it seems more likely now from this footage that this is actually happening. So the question becomes, how do we get to a position where he's on a pyre, tied up, fires around him, and he doesn't die? What series of events, what things could happen in the episode or the following one that could make this horrible predicament he's in disappear and him survive? What allies does Hvitserk have? Who would save him and why would they save him? Now I've heard several different theories from you guys in the comments that I find quite interesting. One is that Ivar actually saves him. There's a strong possibility that this here is a shot of Ivar with scout forces of the Rus ahead of the main army. And while Ivar is on this mission, he finds out of Hvitserk's plight and decides to save him, which could be a very interesting series of events and make Hvitserk actually join the Rus side. The other theory I've heard that's quite interesting is that perhaps Harald attacks, and in that fight, Hvitserk is saved by someone, let's say that girl that cares for him. And if we look at this preview, that sounds quite interesting.
People of Getterget! I fear he will launch an attack very soon, as we are prize worth taking.
Now Bjorn definitely thinks that Harald isn't going to just stop with one attempt on his life, and it's very likely that Harald will marshal his forces, storm Kattegat, take the important training post, and of course, kill Bjorn. So it seems very much in the minds of Harald and Bjorn, they see each other as adversaries that must be destroyed, because they're both very unaware of the larger and greater threat that is coming from the east. So in the preview, we get a bunch of shots of these horsemen charging in and some fighting. This is overlaid by the voiceover of Bjorn talking about Harald invading. However, the troops we see in this fighting is clearly Rus soldiers, not Harald soldiers, which shows us definite proof that there are advanced forces from the Rus that are starting to fight already. However, when we do look at the people they're fighting, they don't seem to be soldiers sent by Bjorn or Harald, they very much seem to be villagers. This guy is wielding a hammer, not a sword or an axe or anything. So it's very likely over the next few episodes we'll see the Rus threat becoming bigger and bigger and encroaching more and more into Norway's territory. This may actually go mostly unnoticed as the conflict between Harald and Bjorn is the main focus for most people. If the election had gone to Bjorn, a solid and stabilizing force, then Norway would be one whole kingdom, newly unified and ready to fight off a big major force like the Rus, which would have made Oleg's invasion at the worst possible time. However, under Harald, the kingdom is broken. Major lords like Olaf are refusing to work with the king and being imprisoned, and with Bjorn's forces, it could be returned to a civil war, meaning that Oleg will arrive in a broken and fighting country, ripe for his conquest. Some would say you'd need the vision of a prophet to guess such a great time to invade. So the next episode is going to be really interesting. Not only are the fates of characters like Hvitserk still in the balance, but the fate of all of Norway as well. And as we see Harald betray his friends and make empty promises and divide the kingdom, we are reminded of the words Ragnar gave us at the start of the season. Power is always dangerous. It attracts the worst and corrupts the best. Power is only given to those who are prepared to lower themselves to pick it up.
What has happened here?
So far it's not looking very good for Scandinavia as a region, and we're getting all these themes from Vikings saying it's going to be a very dark and horrible season as things only get worse. However, we do see that some Viking people have discovered this massacre, this battle, and all the remains left after the Rus seemed to kill off these villagers. And they also left their flag, which is quite interesting because now they know the Rus are there. And we'll get to finally see all the different characters find out and react to the news that the Rus are coming. Bjorn and the sons of Ragnar will have to face their brother again, Harald will be faced by this new challenge straight away in the very infancy of his rule, and we'll see all these characters who thought they would have to fight each other have to re-evaluate their priorities as the whole political dynamic gets flipped on its head as this greater threat is revealed. I'd really like to hear what you guys think this effect will have on Bjorn and Harald. Will they make up? Will they still try to fight each other? What this will mean for the fate of Hvitserk? Will he be saved by Ivar or Harald or someone else? Or maybe we're just getting thrown off by that one small clip and Hvitserk does actually die. His historical counterpart does die getting burned at the stake, which would make a lot of sense for him to perish here. So tell me all your thoughts on that in the comment section below. And once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you've been enjoying the Vikings videos so far throughout the season, I implore you to do so. And a huge thanks for watching this video and listening to me ramble about all this crazy stuff in Vikings. It makes me feel a lot better about being a nerd who says his opinions on the internet. I cannot wait for this next episode and to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Skål.